Welcome friends. This is a tutorial on JWT HTTP. JWT HTTP is a Express.js like framework which is used to develop web applications. The speciality or the features of this JWT HTTP framework is it is very lightweight and it contains inbuilt Java Web Token login system and also user roles and permissions similar to the WordPress, where you can define your roles and groups and group privileges, and also users will be entitled to some group and thus you can control the application. So apart from this, it has got request methods like get and post. As of now, other methods are not yet added. In future they will be added. Get method will give a send a get request to this one, and post method will post a request to the server from the client. And also you can add query strings and also URL parameters. URL parameters I will just show you here. Here you can, this is a query string which you are seeing, and yeah, you can see this is the URL parameter query. This is a colon of ID, and it will be stored in a request.param object where you can use. I'll show it when it comes to coding. So, and also there is got a features of middleware. And middleware are two types, for the generic and specific. Generic middleware will be applied to all the backend routes, and of course you can exempt few of the routes by setting it false. There is an argument while adding the routes. By setting it false, you can exclude the routes. And also specific middleware is for a specific route only, where you will define and use it for that. Then in the front end, to render HTML file, there is an inbuilt render template engine which I will be showing during coding process. Of course, as I said, there is a login inbuilt login system, login code. I'll show it. In fact, you'll be using in a middleware which is inbuilt to it. By thus, you can secure login can be achieved. And to regarding management of the assets like scripts, style, and images, this method will be used. Set login. Sorry, not this one. This method is used. Set asset routes. Set asset routes. This will set the asset routes. Okay, if you can set some cookies which are not that important right now. I will go to the application architecture, how you have to define. Here first I'll show you that is a root directory. In that we'll have to create first a backend and a front end. Of course, this sort of architecture not compulsory, but it is useful if you go in this approach. So backend will contain the file that is a routes file which will contain routes belonging to backend, and a model which will contain database connection and all that. Business logic will go into this model, and front end we will contain a HTML folder. In the HTML files will go inside this, and we'll have to create an assets like assets folder which will again contain script, styles, and images. Of course, the styles, scripts, and images will go into these folders. Index.js is the starting file or index, that is an entry file. This package and package lock JSON are created by npm init, and node models will also be there. Of course, you can create one more folder for middleware that also can be used. If you got a lot of middleware written, you can create a folder and also require it in the index.js file. Now, with this background, we'll switch to the Visual Studio Code. I am firing up Visual Studio Code here. Now, what I'll do is I'll open the terminal. I'm opening the terminal. I'll start with npm init npm init. I'm starting npm init. Okay, now here with this npm init, I'll accept the default text city, which is my channel name, as a this one, version okay, description okay, entry point index.js is okay for me, and I get repository fine, keywords fine, author I will put it as a tech city, channel name, then license whichever you think is necessary for you, can use it. Now I will install Jadibooti HTTP. I'm installing Jadibooti HTTP from the net. Depending upon the internet speed, it will take, as it is a very lightweight, it should not take much time. Well, now it is already installed. I have installed 1.0.10. Now in the node modules, you can see these are the ones which have been downloaded. Jadibooti HTTP is the main module which will consume other modules. Jadibooti login is used for logging system. Render.html async is a template inbuilt to this, which will be for rendering the HTML files. User group and roles, as I said, which will give permission to group and users. I will be discussing it. And Jadibooti login will consume this cryptos.js. Create JSON array will actually be consumed by user groups and roles. Create JSON array will contain will actually one which will create a JSON files which will store your privilege and all that. So this is about in briefly the node modules which have been downloaded when you install Jadibooti HTTP. Now I'll start creating the folders which I just now showed you. First I'll create a folder backend. Then the same level I'll create one more folder front end. In backend I will create one folder called model, and also one route called route. I'll call it as a route.js. I'll create one file here, route.js. Similarly in front end I'll create a folder HTML to store HTML files. One more folder I'll create assets. Inside the assets I will create 3 folders actually. SCRI scripts, I'll call it as one is scripts, another will be styles, another will be img images. Fine. This is how I have created the architecture here. And I have not created entry index.js. Now I'll create in the under the app folder only. I'll create index.js file. This is the entry file here. Fine. Entry file I have created. Now I will start coding now. This is index.js file. What I'll do is var app equal to require Jadibooti HTTP. I'll call. Now app dot set route. Set route will be airport. I'll set it to 9000. Then I will create a section for middleware. Similarly I will create a section for routes. And also I will create one folder only. I'll create a folder for middleware to avoid confusion. Inside the middleware you can write your middlewares which are generic, like this one actually naming was not good, not correct. Middleware.js. Okay, now here routes and this one I have created. Now in I will require what I'll do. Okay, now in middleware folder I'll go. In that there is a middleware.js file. I will require that here. I am requiring it before the route. Just see middlewares. Again you can require it here. Now I'll take up backend route. I'll take fine. Then again I'll require I take a front end. I have not created routes in routes file in front end. I'll create that now. Routes.js. Fine. I have created. Now I'll show it here. Okay, routes.js is here. So these are the files which have been required in index.js. This sort of coding I am doing it because to avoid the clutter in the index.js file. Now I'll close this index.js file. Now I'll go to the front end. I'll go to the front end. In front end, what I will do is I'll go to the routes. In routes, I'll create one more again variable app equal to require Jadibooti Jadibooti HTTP. Okay. Now I will create first first route for index file, index HTML file. This is the route I'm first creating for index.html file. I have to right now put the directory name plus I will HTML. I'm actually see here now in front end we have got HTML folder here. I'm coming inside this. In HTML folder I will create one file called index.html. I'm trying to access this file from this route. Okay, here I'm trying to access this HTML file, index.html. This file I'm accessing it here. I'll save it. I'll go to index.html file and I will create HTML right here. I will call it as alright, title as a text city, channel, my channel name. Now h1 is here. Alright, welcome to tech city. I'll write it here. HTML. I have created a route and also I have created the file index.html. Now this I will start the server. Server is listening at port 9000. I'll go to this one here, open. Now welcome to tech city. I'll show you the what it has rendered here. You can see here, welcome. This file has been rendered. This file has been rendered. Now I'll create one more HTML file. I'll call it as emp.html. In this I will create emp. Again I have generated a emp HTML. Here I'll call it as employee. I'll call the title as employee. Now I will create an HTML text city. Okay, employee. Okay, whatever. Now I'll create s2. To pass arguments, basically I'm trying to pass query strings in the URL and try to use this query strings here. That's what I'm doing it here. I'll call the name here. I'll put a name query string. I'll show it to you when it comes to URL query string. I will pass under query string, call it as age. Then one more parameter here, call it as curly braces. I'm putting 3 curly braces. I'm putting it here. So what I was telling you was here I'm putting a comment. What are query strings? After the URL, this one example. Now I have written www.example.com. After that, to pass query strings, we can call, for example, emp, put a question mark here. Then if you pass a query string like name, you can put a name Rajiv. In fact, nicely I'll try to put it capitals here, Rajiv Patil, and I should not leave any spaces here, otherwise. Okay, Rajiv, age equal to 34 and sex equal to male. This is this part from here till here, it can be called as a query string, which will be put in address of the browser. Now I have these things. Name will go, this name, this value of this will come here. Age will be replaced with 34 and sex will get replaced with male. Now I'll show it now. This is the file I have created, emp.html, and for corresponding this file I have to create one more route here, app.render.html. I'll call it as emp. Now after this I'll pass and plus mark and call a function, a query expression. This is the function which will create that query string and substitute the values, and also render HTML. It will render the HTML with the values. Now I have to put the path of the path. I'll activate directory but path. Now data name which it is inside HTML, then emp.html. Now this is the way we created the route with query string. I'll start the server to show you. Node index, it is starting at 9000. I'll go to this here, I'll put emp, put a question mark, name equal to, I'll put as Varun Patil, and age equal to 23, sex equal to male. I'll hit enter now. Now you can see Varun Patil 23 and male. This one has whatever the values here, that has been replaced here. That's how we handle the query strings. Now I'll show you how to you take up the assets. Assets are like here. Assets should go inside the front end here. I'll do it with what you will say styles. I'll go into styles folder. I'll create a file, call it as a style.css. Find styles.css. I'll go to index dot. Okay, I'll go to, where is it, HTML folder, index dot. I'll open up here. I'll add that style. Now how generates this one assets route is all the assets which are all the files inside the assets folder, be it however deep they are inside this folder, they'll get an automatic route with this method. Set asset routes here. I'll take up here. Then I have to put a dir name plus, then I have to call assets. This folder I'm putting it here. So this I'm putting a path of this assets folder here. So what all it content files, it will create a automatic routes. Now I am creating in a styles.css file which is inside the styles folder, which is inside the assets here. I'll go to index.html. Here I will create an link for CSS. Yeah, link for CSS. Style sheet. This is I'll create a path for it now, that is inside the styles.css. Styles.style, it is inside styles style.css. It is here. This file I will to show you for the body element. I'll change the background color to brown, whatever. Just also I'll change the background color to brown. Now I'll go start the server now. I'll fire up the index.html page. Now the background has been changed to brown, whichever color which you have set. You can see that this style.css file has come. Yeah, whatever you have written, you can see it here. Okay, that's how. Even in fact, similarly, we can create images. You can put an images here if you want to put images. I'll put an image src here. I'll take up the image, like for example if you have got an image here inside image folder, that is what I'll do is I'll take one image from my computer and show it. Okay, I'm copying this image from one of my folders in the computer to the folder of my TechCity front end assets. Here got images folder here. This images folder I'm pasting it here. So this is inside the images folder. I'll change the name of it to show that I'll call the name img. Okay, I'll call it as img, whatever. Now I'll come to this img. What I'll put is, so this is inside images folder. So I'll put img/img .jpg. So I have tried. This image should be rendered on the index.html page. I'll come to and I'll start the server. Before that, I'll go here. See, the image has been rendered here. It is a very big image. I have not resized it. The image has, thus you can by resizing we can store the images. Now this is about front end. I'll go to the back end. Okay, in the previous section or video we learnt about the front end, about JWT HTTP. Here we will go to the back end. Backend routes, we have got route.js file here. I'll open this route.js file. Where app equal to req require JWT HTTP. Okay, I'm doing that now. Again, in this I will do is app dot get method. This will give get request. Now when we are dealing creating routes for backend, I usually prefix them with the backend prefix, so that there won't be any conflict between front end and backend. This I do it because the front end team and the backend teams will be different more often. So when you have a well patterned backend routes, there won't be any conflict with the front end. So more often these backend routes are used for AJAX calls, and the response that is sent is in JSON format. So the backend routes, so backend route I'm putting backend /emp. Now you are seeing this option use middleware is a boolean. Is a boolean. Now if I set this to true, it will use the generic middleware in this route. And now you can pass multiple callbacks, multiple, as many as you want. The last callback should be which one, the function which renders the final sends the client the JSON object. That should be the last one. Now what I'll do is here callback, I'll not put any other middlewares specific to this. This is generic method specific to this route just now. Right now I'm not putting. So what I'll do is I will take up the final function, fun function, then I'll put req res, then previous previous ious previous. That's important. Don't change do mistakes the spellings, otherwise it won't work. Previous. Now here I will send as a response, I will send app response object app dot http messages send JSON. Send JSON object. Send JSON object. Here first I will put it as name equal to name, what shall I call, something like Kavita Jaiswal. Age should be 34. Sex female. This much I'll put now. I'll try to call this out. Okay, this is a get method backend / emp. I'll start a server. Start a server now. Node.index. So server is listing at 9000. Here / backend. Now it is taking up backend.emp. You can see. I must have done a mistake. Hold on a minute. So the mistake I had done was app.http messages send JSON. Before passing this JSON object, I should I will send this JSON as well. I should put req res request and response. Then I have to pass this JSON object. This is the third parameter. First argument is a req for sending anything, HTTP messages. These things are common. req res, and this JSON object I'm sending it here. So I will save this. Then node index. Okay, I'll re-render it. Backend. Now you can see name Kavita Jaiswal, age 34, sex female. Now I'll show you how to use middleware. Now middlewares in index.html, index.js file. Here I am requiring this file, middleware file, which is present in the middleware folder. I'll go to this file which has been required there. Here I will create where app equal to req Jadibooti http, then app dot use I will write here. Now I have to write function, middleware function. Middlewares are nothing but functions which should contain these parameters req res, then prev ious. These arguments are, don't change the names of this, otherwise it won't work. Okay, previous. Now here for this return previous, it should be return previous. Fine, return previous it should be. Now I will set a property to this previous argument, previous dot property, I'll name it as whatever property you wish to add, you write it here. Generic previous dot generic should be called. I'll put as a value for this. I'll call it. So here I'm meaning it so that you should understand this generic is coming from generic middleware. If you want middleware, fine. Generic middleware. This argument is coming from generic. To make you understand that, I am putting it here. Now I'll go to route. I'll use this in route, backend route here, and as a fourth argument, I will take up this generic. I'll take up. Then previous, I'll put dot generic. I will leave it like this. So this generic, I'm using it here, this previous value here. This is coming from this app.use, which is coming from that generic. All the routes where this value is set to true, this function will work. All the routes, for all the routes. This middleware is only for backend routes, not for front-end routes where you want to render direct HTML. Middleware are not sent for that. Now you can see only these parameters are there. I'll just press enter now. See, this generic middleware, that parameter also came. This generic middleware, this is coming from this middleware here. This middleware, this one is coming from there. So like that, we can also add a specific middleware for this route only. What I will do is to show you a specific middleware. I will declare a specific middleware where specific I'll call equal to. I will use a modern style of writing functions or methods in JavaScript previous. Okay, specific. Now I will return previous. I will return previous here. Return previous dot. I will add a property specific to this, and for the it should return specific middleware. I call this a specific middleware. Now here after this true, I will, before the final function, I will write specific name of this variable. I'll just I'll not put this here. I'm not passing anything, just as a variable I'm writing. Just see that. That's one thing which is very important. Just write specific name of this as a variable argument I'm writing. I'm passing the function as a variable. Now I will start the before that. Hold on. Now I have to show you that this is values are coming from there. Specific equal to previous dot specific. These IntelliSense is coming because I had tried this variables in previous couple of times. That's why I'm getting specific in generic IntelliSense before that only. Index. Now there is only one generic middleware. Now specific middleware should come here. When I press refresh the form, see now specific also came. Now for some reason I will pass one more specific middleware for this. I'll call that second. I will go req res previous. I'll call here. I will just return false. If I return it false, the return it false here. If I pass this as a copy and paste here, second, I am passing that as a second argument here. Now if I, as I am returning false here, now if I return it as false, the further functions will not work. It will stop here and the response.end will occur. I'll just show it now, because in this I'm adding two specific middlewares. You can see that second middleware actually it's returning false, returning false. So if that is the case, then what will happen is nothing will be there, just everything will disappear now. Did I save it or not? Yeah, the thing is I have not saved it, that's why it did not work. I'll save it now. Now I'll show you. And I'll show it to you now. Nothing came. Previous section we saw how to deal with the get request, and also we saw the middleware and how to pass a multiple middlewares, and by passing a false in the middleware return value, by passing a false in the middleware we can how to stop the further process, like here return false. This one we saw in the previous video, previous section. Now in this section we'll learn post request. So to make a post request, I will first create one HTML file inside the HTML folder in the front end. So I'll call this as new user, or else I'll call it as user.html. This one I will use to create registration, user registration. So HTML file, I have generated. I'll increase the font size. That should be okay now. I'll increase the font size. I'll increase the font size. Hold on. Okay. I'll increase the font size here. Now you can see here. I will create a form, simple form. So without any, I'm making to, I'll call a Ajax. I'm in fact use Ajax to post it to backend. So it is a form input. I will take input equal to txt. I'll put an input of text. Call this as user ID. Also I'll call it as user. Then I'll place placeholder. So okay, placeholder, I'll call it as user. User. Okay. Now I will break the line. Then another input field I will take for password. Password, I will password is a password field. I'll call it as password. I'm trying to keep things simple. WOWORD. Then placeholder, I'll keep it as password. Then I will create one button, a simple button. The value of the button will be new user. Then ID field I'll give for this button. ID field will be new user. I'll call that as new user. Name also I'll give new user. Okay, this is one new HTML file I have created.
the name of the file is user.html. So correspondingly I have to create one route in the front end. So the route name will be app.render.html. I'll call this route as a new user. Okay, I'll call this as a now new user. Then I will get name plus HTML folder I'm going inside. Then I will use this user.html. This file I have created here. Now this is for front end. Now from front end I will have to create an route, post request route in the back end. This front end. Now I'll go to the back end. I'll create a post request route to handle the posted when that this one gets posted into the server. It has to handle that. For that I will use post method. Now in here it was a get method. Now I'm using post method. Post method URL. I have to give a URL for the post method. URL for the post method will be as usual. I will call it as a back end. Then I'll call new user. Fine. This is a post this one, and here it is asking to use whether to use this generic middleware. I'll say false here. There is no need for generic middleware. Then I will create a function for req res. Then I'll go for view border app. Okay, req res. Then previous. I'll go for previous item. Then fine. Now here that's what. Now here I will write I have to the posted when that form gets posted when form posted to the server, it was stored in req body. That will be to access that I will store it in a data variable, and I will require this query string. This query string I'm taking it as a var query string equal to require query string. This is inbuilt into Node.js. This module I am requiring here. So QUU query string dot parse, then req dot bodi, req dot bodi. That's about creating data. Now the data is in this variable data will contain the posted whatever that's posted into the backend. It will be stored in the data variable. Now to check, I will just write console.log data. So when I post it from the front end, it should get it should be in the terminal of this backend or server. It should print the printed. It should send the data in the JSON object. I'll show it how it will come. Now we will go to the front end. Here, backend I'll close it here. Routes I'm closing. In front end, now we have user.html file. Now I will use jQuery CDN. See, I'm using this is a jQuery code.jQuery.com. Here I'm using CDN, that is a minified. Don't use the slim and slim minified. Use this minified because this don't contain Ajax module. Only this contains, I believe. Only I use this minified. So I'll click it here. I will use it as a CDN only. I will copy this. Go to here in user.html. Above the body, I will paste it. I'm pasting it now. Now jQuery is included. jQuery is included. And apart from that, I have added one more module to improve the IntelliSense of this one. Add types.jQuery. This module will help us in improving the intelligence of while typing the jQuery. This module I have used. Just I wanted to show that. I close this, and now I will go to uh, this assets. Inside assets, I'll go to scripts. Script.js file I have already created. This is the code I have already written. Anyway, I'll rewrite it once more for showing demonstration now. Dollar. This is such a good intelligence. What you're seeing, it is all because of that types mm, add types jQuery. Dot ready function, then okay function here, then now this is the script.js file I'm writing the jQuery methods where user equal to dollar dollar user dot val. Well, this will access password equal to dollar password val. That's all. These both the values are accessed here. Now I'll write Ajax. I'll create a JSON object. URL is back end new user. This is the URL which it has to post. Then the method posting is post in this case. See, I am writing post in a small letters. Then data is, I will write the data here, user equal to user, and password user equal to user. These variables, they are here. These are the keys, these are the values. Now these things I have added here. Now I have to include this script.js file in user.html. So in the user.html, so see here I have made a typo error. ID inside I have put it as password. Okay, this typo error I have corrected here now. This also placeholder is fine. Name is password. Now I will include a script file. Script here. src of the script will be so it is inside the assets folder. Assets you should not use. Next folder is scripts folder. Then inside it is script.js. This is I'm accessing here. Front end assets scripts js. This part I have turned it here. Now we will try to post and see whether it works. Okay, node index. I'll go to Chrome. Okay, first I'll load this. Yeah, I have loaded it again. I'll write it as Varun 1 2 3 4 5 something. I'll write. I'll put a new user and go and see. See, the values are not come. Somehow I think so I have done some error in values, accessing the values. I'll see what sort of error I have done it here. Hold on a minute, I'll check it and come back online once more. Hmm. The error that I had done was this function, this what all code I wrote, I should actually write it inside the click event. So this click event is not there, that's why it's not functioning. Now I have to write a click event for the button. So hold on, dollar. So here I will access the button here. Button is button name is also new user ID or whatever you want to call on click on click. I'll call this function. Okay. Now this all code, this code here, all this code should be inside this click event. I'm putting it inside the click event. Okay, I'll save it. Then okay, then what I'll do is I'll start the server and see whether it works. Okay, okay, node index. So I'll go to the this one. I'll Varun Patil. I will have a password, simple password for showing. Okay, I will go to CL user Varun Patil, password 12345. It has come. If I pass like Rajiv and some password, if I write press new user again, see the Rajiv, and this can be sent. Actually, once you receive all this data here, you can this data, what this is actually coming from this backend routes console.data. If you call a method inside the model here, if you got a con com.js file, and if you write a method here which is connected to the database, that method you can insert. If you want to call insert user, if you write it here, this method will insert user will insert insert the data to the database. From here you can call you can connect data code to insert into database. Thus you can separate this. Thus you can separate from here. So you have to call this from this route. Here if I have to require that file here, it is this is inside the model here. I will require it here where con, just I am showing require so there is a model folder, inside that there is a con. So this is the one which is there, and here if you export this model dot exports equal to insert user, that will be accessible from here, insert from this route con. What is the variable I declared? Con. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Actually, I should write it here con in modular export dot, because there are multiple methods. So wisest thing is to use insert user equal to like this. This one will this variable will be accessible from here, from routes. So here con dot insert, see insert user key, you can send insert user here. If you are sending a data, if you are sending a data, it will go there. Of course it should accept data here, this one, data should accept. Thus you can do your business logic. This is about adding routes to post method to the JWT HTTP. In the next video tutorial, I will be dealing with JWT login, that JWT web token, how to create, and also user group and roles. Thank you now.